Hello, hello, and welcome back to the 5 Foot Strong podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Gerlach, and our guests today are a strong, creative, and motivated husband and wife dynamic duo who created Distinct Art Media. Distinct Art Media is a photography, videography, and fashion styling studio based in Southern Florida. They specialize in creating engaging and visual, beautiful content and providing expert fashion styling. Our guests today, Tessa and Dennis Cruz, have an incredible passion for photography and fashion, and their company brings the two together in a very beautiful way. Today, I want to know about their journeys. How did they get to where they are today? What their inspiration and motivation behind their company is. So let's get into it all, and let's welcome Dennis and Tessa Cruz to the 5 Foot Strong podcast. Hey guys, how are you today?
Hey, thanks for having us, Jessica.
Thank you so much for being here. So I want to ask you the question that I ask all my guests is, what does being strong mean to you?
I think that it is definitely perseverance in business. I think whoever can keep going the longest wins.
I like it. Resilience,
Resilient.
persevering,
hmm
100%, and that makes a strong individual. So I want to talk about your business. How'd you create it? What's your passion behind it? You want to give a little bit of the journey to the listeners?
Well, I mean, I started my photography journey quite a bit before we even met, which is an interesting story. We'll get into that, I guess.
Yeah, I want to hear it all.
Uh, But yeah, I come from a graphic design background, and about 8 years ago, I decided I'd pick up a camera. I was working for a sort of fitness pageant kind of hybrid company.
Yeah.
And I was also working for their magazine, putting it together. So I was always kind of a visual person and having all these photos and working with them. I thought maybe I should pick up a camera. I had like this interest in it for the longest time, and I just never, took it up. But that one day I just bought my first camera, and it's the rest is history, I guess.
A creative person likes to express their ways in different creative mediums. So, it's just
Mhm.
finding a different way. You are clearly a creative person, so it's about finding your strength and kind of riding the wave with it.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk. So you were taking photos, and then how'd you guys meet?
So as I mentioned, I was working for the company that did fitness pageants,
Yeah.
and I was at the time their head photographer. They had a show in Atlantic City in December of 2021, and yeah, I was just hanging out at the lobby of the hotel, and in comes this girl that was just like looking around like she didn't know where she was going.
Yeah, I'm always lost.
And yeah, I just couldn't stop looking at her. And and she actually came up to me and my bosses.
You came up to your bosses.
Yeah, it was my boss.
I know who you were.
But everything's meant to happen, clearly, and
Yeah.
everything has a journey to it. And what were you doing at that point?
At that point I was still working at iFly. I was an
Okay.
iFly instructor.
Awesome, cool,
So I just went there as a competitor and
cool.
introduced myself to the owners. So I was like, oh, look, I know who they are. And they introduced me to him, and I just ended up talking to him just because I'm actually like super antisocial, and I was there. I was there all by myself, and
I get it, I get it.
I didn't really like
But
know
that takes
anybody.
confidence. That takes
Yeah,
confidence to go up to a group of guys, like people, and be like, "Hey,"
yeah,
So it
yeah.
was
So
clearly everything was meant to happen for a reason that
yeah,
day.
Yeah.
and then he was just stuck with me, and then he came out to California to see me like a couple weeks after the show, and then we went to Vegas and got married.
You know what? Vegas is my favorite place, so I completely understand. And hopefully one day I get married, I will get married in Vegas as well.
It was fun. It was
But
fun.
so you guys created, so that was in 2021. And then when did you create like your idea behind Distinct Art Media?
We started because he was still working with the company, and then I
I
would
would take her
start
to the
just, yeah, I
shows.
would start going with him to the shows and to the
Yeah.
shoots. And I was like, oh, why don't you guys slowly started like adding little things to people's outfits. And
Yeah,
then
because they show up and not really know what to do.
yeah,
And,
Were you always into fashion?
yeah, I feel like I really loved, even like from the time I was like, I think we were talking to someone. I said in my econ class in high school, everyone did like all these established businesses, and I did my project on Dolce and Gabbana,
I love
and
it.
I would always had an interest in just the big fashion houses,
Yeah.
like, you know, high fashion. I always loved, and I'd always look through the pages of Vogue and all that, but it was never something like I always had my own sense of style, even as a teenager.
Yeah.
A lot of people, that's why I was always a loner, I feel like, because no one really knew where I fit in, because I didn't really fit into any, like, I didn't follow trends. I just
Yeah.
kind of wore what I wanted to wear,
I love
some
that
sort of
though.
mix between like preppy, but also dark and gothic. So,
That makes you unique in your own way, right? And you know,
yeah.
I talk about the word strong, and like being strong is just going towards your own path. Sometimes you got to pave your own path, and you know, you don't need to follow the trends. That's cool, you know, striving to be yourself.
I feel like I've just always had that. And even now, like when I dress, I really just wear whatever I want to wear, like without regards to, oh my gosh, like, oh, you can't wear that with that,
Who am I gonna have print?
or yeah, it's like,
Oh.
oh, people would be like, oh, I would never think to wear that together, or I love that outfit, but I would never wear it out. I was like, why? I can wear whatever I want to wear, whenever I want to wear it. So
Sometimes we'll be shooting somewhere, just the two of us, and she's wearing this like crazy outfit, and then we'd have to go to the grocery store before we go home. Just like, she's
But you
like,
know what? The best is that you don't care, and you know, you're
yeah.
unique, and you don't. I'm this kind of the same way. I strive in my own way. I kind of float to my own beat of my own drum, you know, and I think that makes you unique and strong in your own way, because you don't follow the crowd. And you know, so you brought your fashion sense and you brought your photography, and I'm assuming that's how this company was started.
Yeah.
yeah, it totally was. I mean, I no longer work for the company that,
Yeah.
that where we met, and I foresaw kind of its downfall.
I was very much in your
Yeah.
ear telling you to start.
And then,
I just think that they always kind of forbid him from doing his own thing, so he never really
yeah,
like set up his own company. And so like even before he left, we started Distinct Art Media before, before we even left the company, just because
yeah.
I was like, let's do our own thing. Like I want to.
And it was kind of like a pain to try to get it started because I'm from Canada,
So
Toronto. I know
bye.
you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm immigrating here, so I
Yeah.
don't have a social security number,
Yeah.
to kind of like start my
It's
own
hard.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to wait for that. And once I got it, I just like took off with it, and I'm glad that, because all the stuff that went down and how the company failed, it was very all of a sudden,
Mhm.
right? And like what I needed to get started happened just before that. It was
Yeah.
like stroke of luck and bad luck at the same
But we
time.
talk about everything happening at the right time, you know, and
Yeah.
believing in, you know, the way you guys met. Like, how would you have met if you weren't there that night at that time? Like, everything I believe there's a reason to your journey and how you created this. And
Yeah,
I think
it's funny that
over it.
Oh, sorry. It's funny that you say that about like things happening at the right time, because she actually forgot what you missed your
I
flight
missed my
from
flight.
California to Atlantic City, and
And I had to fly into New York, and then no one would rent me a car because I don't have a credit card. And then I also didn't have my license on me. I had
yeah, she
I
forgot
had
her
my California
license.
ID and not my
But
license.
But you guys wouldn't have met. Like you guys,
Yeah.
I
That
believe
wasn't
in the
super
journey.
irresponsible.
Yeah, so she would have totally got there on time, probably went to sleep, instead of like, getting there. I think it was at midnight.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we had just come from dinner and
The stars aligned. The stars
yeah, it did.
aligned.
It
And
did.
that's a really cool thing. And so what did you guys bring? Like you brought your fashion, you brought your skills in photography and that creative side. But what do you think makes you guys different in that space?
I just think we're both kind of a little bit unique in terms of being individuals,
Yeah.
and bringing that two together is just, even sort of a more rare kind of dynamic and combination. That's
I
what I
think
would say.
yeah, it's working with us together is a little bit different because when you work with just like a photographer by himself, you really don't have that like model coaching styling side. A lot of photographers, yeah, they will fix their models, but they won't necessarily like coach them.
Mhm.
So I'm there as a person that I like my whole background is in working with people. Like I'm a people person. I like to coach people. I like to be able to like push people through difficult situations.
Yeah.
So that's where I get a lot of joy in our clients, like who we work with, whereas he gets to focus really on that composition part, the photography part, and I get to work with our clients personally. Like I feel like every client leaves as like my new best friend,
I love that.
honestly. Um,
I
so
have like so many clients from the past that, loved shooting with me. And then when they got the experience to have her on set, she like stole all my friends.
I really like to I'm a very
Connect.
loud
You like to
person.
connect,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I like to, so sometimes he's like a very quiet, reserved person. So even directing models and getting them in the spot that they need to be, sometimes he's a little bit more reserved and quiet, where I'll be like, hey, I need you to put that arm right here. Go this is what I want. And it's like, it's a very, I just feel like I'm a little bit better at directing and connecting with people.
You kind of need
So
that both sides. So that's
yeah.
it makes, I am a personal trainer. I've done some fitness shows before and I've worked with photographers and, you want to bring the confidence out of you. The goal in like, I personally, when I'm shot, like I like to bring the strength out of me and, the confidence and, it's actually funny because I have a background in graphic design as well. I went to school for interactive media. That's kind of, I worked for Disney at one point, but
That's cool.
yeah, but the fact is like, I can see something the way it should be, but the way the camera picks you up and the way somebody else sees you is very different than what you see. And you want that person, that photographer to see every beautiful factor about you and bring it out and make you confident. And I can tell, Tessa, you're the one who's trying to like, you're the hype girl. You're trying to like, you try to like connect with, the model, whoever it is, because it brings you more confident. It brings the confidence out of you. And that when you look at a photo, like I looked at some of your stuff, it's so unique, but it's so, you could see through the model, like see to the model. It's not just a picture, and it's a feeling. And that's the connection from the person who's seeing it from my eyes to the model. And that's would only be possible without you guys and what you do.
Yeah.
I
Like,
think good photos make you feel something, right?
Yeah.
So like to make you feel something, like the model has to also be feeling something. And if that something is like uncomfortable, then that's what the photo is going to look like, right? So
Right.
getting someone to feel confident and comfortable and like just be able to convey that on camera, it's really important to make you feel that first, right?
I totally get that. Yeah. And you want that connection. You want from whatever you look at the image to have that connection, how they feel, what they're feeling, if it's supposed to be a sad feeling, if it's supposed to be a happy feeling. And that's through your lens, Dennis. So it's a really cool connection.
And it's not that he can't do it by himself. I think that it's just like having two people too, I feel like it also adds to the experience of the model too. Like when you show up, and I find it even too, when Dennis is just shooting me and it's just him shooting me, I feel like a little bit like, like a little bit uncomfortable at time. But if you show up and there's multiple people working on you, like you have someone fixing your clothes, you have someone directing you, and you have a photographer, like it kind of makes you feel a little bit more like confident in what's happening, right? So
Can I ask you a question, Tessa? What about
yeah,
like having that connection from a female to a female? Do you
yeah,
think
yeah.
that makes somebody more confident sometimes in that photo?
I think so. Although I will say I've shot with male photographers, and
Yeah.
Dennis has the ability to connect with. It's so weird. He's very good at connecting with women too,
Yeah.
because I've shot with some men that are like kind of creepy and give
Of
you that creepy
course.
vibe.
But that's I wasn't gonna go there, but
No,
there's
no, but
there's
there
there
is some,
is that demeanor of the photographer
there
being a little creepy sometimes.
there is, but I will say, like the male photographers I've ever met, Dennis does have this uncanny ability to like be one of the women
I love it.
in a
but
good way.
but but
Yeah.
that's a really good thing because you can make a woman feel comfortable, and you
Yeah.
want to make the woman feel comfortable in their own skin. So that's
Yeah.
an important thing. And Tessa, what did you take from being an indoor skydiving coach to now, like, going into fashion, going into creative? Like, did you take anything from like the fearlessness of like, just kind of being brave?
Yeah, I mean, and this is what I tell people too, it's all really about working with people and coaching people. So whether or not, yeah, part of my job when I was an indoor skydiving instructor was just like brute force, like
Mhm.
holding these people and making them safe. But a large part of my job was coaching people and getting people to calm down and getting people to relax. And that's reading people.
Yeah.
That's being in their face. Like I'm a super expressive person,
Yeah.
like just in my face. And I think when people see that, they also like feel a little bit more at ease. Like,
Yeah.
so I would have to work with people who would be freaking out in the tunnel and I couldn't talk to them. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't speak because you can't talk to someone. So all I can do is like get in front of them and be like, hey, it's fine. Like, see me, I'm fine. You should be fine.
Yeah.
Right. And surprisingly, just connecting with someone on a human level can make someone calm down. And I was
100%.
telling him, I remember distinctly having like a guy come up to me who was watching me in the tunnel with my class. He wasn't even in my class. He was just someone watching because it's a glass tube.
Yeah.
And he's like, you have a great ability to connect with people. And he told me, he was like, you should look into being like a social worker one day or something, because to be able to have empathy towards people and be able to really speak to them, well, not speak to them, right?
Yeah.
But
No,
to be
but
able to make
that
someone calm
connection.
down, he's like, not a lot of people have that ability, right? So
So I think you took that exactly, that ability to, connect with someone, and you bring it to somebody being a model being in a very vulnerable state. You have to make somebody feel confident, right? So do you guys have like any tips for like people to feel more confident in their skin when they're getting shot?
I think for me, it's just like if you hire a good photographer
Yeah.
that just let that worry go.
Yeah.
It's not your job to look good. It's the photographer's job to make you look good. Put
Yeah.
your trust in it. Just like put that out of your mind, because for us, expression is the most important part
For
for
sure.
me,
of
sorry.
getting an image of someone.
I feel like I always encourage people to like let go of that idea that everything has to be perfect. Like everyone's so caught up, especially in this day and age, on like social media, like, oh, I can only put this perfect angle of me and this perfect picture of me online, and I can't have anything else online. Like it's really stepping out of that and stepping out of your comfort zone and realizing like we're like no one's here to judge you, no one's here to do anything. Like maybe we can show you a side of yourself that you don't see in yourself. Sometimes people like don't ever have any photos of them smiling, maybe, right? They're only comfortable doing like duck lip photos or some from this particular angle. And it's like there's so many, you can't see the beauty in yourself sometimes. So like sometimes you have to let go a little bit and just just explore and just throw caution to the wind, right? Like really step out of who you're supposed to be and try to see a new side of yourself.
Yeah. And like, what your idea of beautiful is of yourself may not be somebody else's. You know what I mean?
You know what? And I think it's very important because, I talk about mental health and physical health on this podcast a lot. And the finding your own beauty is a lot of that inner work for yourself. So the fact that you could come in and say, I see what you should be seeing. And I want, because you're right, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, beauty is, everything's beautiful in its own unique way. But the confidence that we talk about just now and the strength, some people won't come in. I'm sure you've seen models that don't come in with that. They don't come in with the confidence. They don't come in with the strength. So when I talk about mental health, like that all comes together. And what you're doing is trying to say, giving a visual to people to say, look how beautiful you are.
Yeah. We actually had, people cry on set when they see their photos.
Right.
You like a mom, like, remember, I think it was last year, a mom of 4 did a photo shoot with us, and she got in shape for a show. And did we style her? We did style her, or she brought. She brought her stuff. It was really beautiful. We posed her, lit her properly, and when she saw the photos, she just started crying. She's like, "That's me! Oh my God!" I hear that a lot. That's me. Like, yeah.
But that's such a cool thing. What you guys do is to bring that beauty out, because again, people don't see themselves. We all think negative of ourselves. We're always our hardest critic. So when somebody else can actually give you a visual representation of, wow, this is me. It's like seeing a mirror of you, but like, seeing the most gorgeous version of you possible.
Yeah.
And giving you hope and belief in yourself. So that's what you guys do. So I think that's a really beautiful thing.
And so it's also important to like read people, because sometimes I feel like showing them photos on set, they like, a lot of people are really quick to focus in on like the part of themselves that they don't like. So,
but again, because we're our worst critic, and if you are an outside eye, sometimes you need that outside eye to see what somebody's going through, and maybe at that point there might be depressed or upset, but there's a beauty to everybody. And there's a straight, and my motto in this is whether you're 5 feet tall like myself or 7 feet tall, we're all strong in our own unique ways. And it's true. We're all strong and beautiful in our own unique ways. Everybody, we just need to look at we need to have that more positive mindset. And, if Dennis, your job as a creative person, as the photographer, as whatever you're trying to create, you're trying to create the positive, mostly, right? You want to bring the beauty. You want to bring the beauty out, and bringing the beauty out is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, for me, I feel like photography really kind of made me a happier person. I totally recommend it. Taking up the camera to everyone, and I'm not talking about taking photos of beautiful women. That's easy.
100%.
But I mean, during the pandemic, all I had was my camera, and you know how locked down Toronto was.
Yeah.
Toronto, there was nobody on the streets.
Yeah.
I would go out with my camera and take photos of anything and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to the point where I was taking photos of like garbage on the street, tattered rags on fences.
Yeah. But you saw something, like, in such a terrible time, you saw the beauty in something else.
Absolutely.
And and I'm sure that made you happier, exploring that passion for your creativity during such a terrible time.
Yeah. But I think it's good even, just now.
Has it impacted your mental health?
Absolutely. I feel like for me, meditation is a little bit difficult because the way my mind works is like, I need stimulation now, anything, everything. But when I'm out taking photos by myself of just plants, buildings, shadows of things, you know, I'm in the moment, and that's
Yeah.
what meditation is,
Yeah.
right? It's about being present
Yeah.
in the moment, and I'm just connected with what I'm doing, and I don't think of anything else. I don't have any worries. I'm just like totally in flow state for the entire time. It's amazing.
Well, that's your journey of strength right there, is that you guys, you found both of your passions to create beauty in others and lift people up through your vice of photography, videography, whatever you're trying to do to, find the beauty in people. So I think that's a beautiful thing. I want to end it right there, but I want to give you a moment. Do you guys want to share anything you guys have going on?
Yeah, going on.
What do we have going on? We have a show
Talk
we're
about your
going to
company.
California.
Yeah, we have a show that we're going to. We're going to be traveling again. We're going to LA next week, and then we're going to go to Dubai and Mexico. We're also going to start our own magazine.
Awesome.
So that's going to be
Hopefully
coming out
we'll
soon.
start doing some more cinematic stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I have
Tessa loves writing.
some plans. If I start writing, I really want
She
to
needs to just put pen to paper.
Yeah.
do some YouTube series.
One word.
I know. I have a concept.
Tessa, I wrote a book. I was never very good in English. I can tell you, it's one word at a time. That's it. It's one
I
word
have
at a
one-
time.
I just have to
And I
execute.
never thought I would be the one to write a book, but word after word after word. And guess what? We have a book.
That's
So
awesome.
you just got to
Awesome.
believe in yourself. You got to just believe in yourself, and whatever your dreams happen, that's what you got to believe. So I appreciate you guys for coming on the 5 Foot Strong podcast.
Thank you
If
for
you
having
guys are in Southern Florida, check out DSTNCT Art Media. I think it's on, you Google it, but Instagram, socials and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's distinctartmedia.com.
Yeah, DSTNCT.
Yeah, right. Sorry. Yeah. Yes. Yes. And yes, and thank you guys so much. Keep going, keep bringing out people's beauty, because that's a beautiful thing.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much, Jessica.
Thank you, guys.